How do you overcome the fear of inevitable death? My granddad died of prostate cancer in his early 60s, and now my dad, 58, has also recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer. My mum is heartbroken and so scared of him dying, but dad isn't bothered at all. He says I could live with cancer and fear death for years, or I could step into the road and be hit by a bus in 10 minutes. Focus on the now. I'm obviously saddened by the news, yet I can't help but take salute his behavior. If he isn't scared, I shouldn't be either. Epicurus. Death does not concern us, because as long as we exist, death is not here. And once it does come, we no longer exist. We die every night in many respects. It's the process of dying that can be distasteful, but death itself is inherently unknowable and always will be, and therefore nothing to fear. Thanks to denial, I'm immortal. Let me know if you figure it out. I've tried both the religious and indifference routes. I'm still terrified. Live for today. Accept it. There's nothing anyone can do to avoid it. Use your time wisely here and enjoy it. Post-nut clarity hitting hard, I see. I don't fear death. I fear what comes before death. I don't want to suffer when I die. If anything, I would like to just pass in my sleep. I don't fear the afterlife, because whatever comes will be what I deserve. Depression and suicidal thoughts, you'll be looking at death in a different way. Thumbs up. The realization that it is the one thing that binds all things. Ancient, infantile, strong, feeble, powerful, meek, it is a rite of passage. Just as birth was an incalculable anomaly, death is the release of your energy back into the system of life in this world. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, until the giving sun dashes the crust. It's a beautiful thing that, though sad, brings full circle the beauty of existence. Without it, we lose our sight as a sentient race entirely. Be proud that you get to experience something so beyond us that every potential organism and celestial wonder in the universe experiences. No computer, no black hole, no atom, lasts forever. Plus, I mean, wouldn't it be cool to potentially see that from which you came? Energy can't be created or destroyed, so. Theories. GD on The Good Place grappled with his existence in one of the last episodes. He described himself as a wave and how the wave was always a part of the water. But that the wave was just a different way for the water to be for a while. Think about your life for a second. You came from nothing and appeared at a fixed point in time. Where did you come from before then? The answer is simple if you think about it. You have always been the universe itself. There is no evidence that confirms or denies that the universe itself isn't conscious. And in a way, there's more evidence, you being conscious, that the universe is conscious. So my answer to this is simple: in a way, I have always been, and always will be. Video games. Spending time in nature has been the best solace. After nature walking and hiking through the seasons, I've seen things wither and die. But they aren't lost. They are swept back into the ocean. Engine. Womb. No metaphor quite captures it, into the hole. And from that place is always new growth, new green. Nature does not know death, only metamorphosis. And we are part of that. The best way I have heard is to remind yourself that death is the price of life. You can't have one without the other. I guess for me, as I have a good life, if I had have ever been asked to make a choice between A, living and inevitably dying, or B, never living at all, then I would always choose A. So no point getting upset about it. I got the better deal. I will die one day, and I hope it is a long way away and it isn't too nasty, but it will happen. I don't think that there should be a fear over the inevitable. Make peace with it and experience time as it passes. Once it's over, you'll never feel worry again. The billions of years before you existed didn't cause you any inconvenience, so why should the billions after? You replace it with fear of living as a burden to someone. I'd rather die than be with some sort of disease like Alzheimer or a bad Parkinson and have others live a worse life because of me. Work at the intensive care unit. Then you will understand death is a friend. Acceptance. Nothing you can do can stop death. We all meet the Reaper sooner or later. Just live for the day and be the best you can be. Thanks to denial, I'm immortal. Philip J. Fry. The beauty of life is that it's temporary. If it went on forever, we'd never appreciate anything. Without fall and winter, we'd never know the joy of flowers budding in the spring. You get past this fear by accepting that death is a reality for every person that's ever lived. We all face an inevitable end. The difference is in living in the moment and appreciating life to the fullest extent. This can mean so many things for different people, but seeking your personal version of fulfillment will bring you the highest life satisfaction. Death is unavoidable, living is a choice. I think I learned to appreciate that my feelings were basically FOMO. Like sadness and fear that when I die I won't be able to do or experience XYZ again. I used to feel like at best I was gonna be alive for 100 years then dead for billions of years. But then I just learned to change the way I think. I think of my life and experiences starting at birth and ending at death. I don't feel like after I die I'm gonna be in a dark room or I'm gonna miss doing XYZ. My eternity is my time on earth. It doesn't make sense to feel sad for your dead self because that person does not exist or experience sadness. Also think about it this way, your life happened and is forever written into space-time. Even though we can't turn time back and relive it, it's a fact that your experiences happened and that's a permanent part of the universe's history. I also feel a little comfort in knowing every organism on Earth goes through and will go through the experience of death. You're not alone. What does matter is doing things that leave a legacy behind. You get passed on to your children, your genes, your personality. Reproducing is a species' way of living forever. I also learned to think, what would it be like if you could live forever? Would you actually like that? Nations, culture, geography, etc. would change and you'd be sad and nostalgic for what life was like 500,000 years ago when you were young. It was complicated and took me a long time. Sometimes I still get sad about it. But overall I feel like I've learned to accept the beautiful cycles of life and am focused now on having a great one. I had to come to terms with the deaths of both my parents and my own mortality due to an illness within the past decade. I also experienced the deaths of close friends as a teenager. The only way for me was to accept it. Once I could truly do that, then each day became a blessing because I knew how fleeting life is, how suddenly it can end, and how special it is that we are alive and able to experience anything at all. I stopped worrying about the things that could happen, the pain I felt, the things I might never get to do or accomplish, and simply began enjoying the experience in the present moment. Mindfulness meditation helped me a lot with this. Eventually I also adopted a daily practice on meditating on death, gratitude, and loving kindness in the mornings. So, in my view, the way to overcome the fear of death is to not try to overcome it at all, but to accept the fear and accept death. Think about how everyone else is gonna die too. Realize that you are wasting your precious life fearing the inevitable. Imagine all the negatives of living forever. Realize that death is a perfect reason to value our time on this earth. Learn to be grateful for every second you have and every breath you take. By understanding that you die every night when you enter deep sleep, and upon awaking, you want to enter deep sleep again because it's eternal peace. You see, in branches of Hinduism, I think they have it right. They claim that when you as a human are born, it's a death of your eternal peace. The Indic scriptures state, you are the eternal being. Not the limited ego self/human. You are that infinite nothingness and take human form, a human birth. and you experience a return to your eternal being during deep sleep, death, and during serious levels of meditative states and psychedelic experiences. So, see yourself as not just a body/mind, but everything and nothing. I'll end with a beautiful quote from an Indian sage, named Nisargadatta Maharaj. Wisdom is knowing I am nothing, love is knowing I am everything, and between the two my life moves. Live one day at a time. Try to occupy your mind with positivity. Jaeger bombs. Well, I'm Christian, and while death does still make me a little nervous, I have to accept that I will never fully know what it's like or whether I'm wrong in my belief system until it happens, but in the meantime I find a lot of peace in it. I recommend giving psilocybin an objective try. I try to imagine what it was like before I was born. By understanding that death isn't real, our idea of death is just our lack of understanding, we perceive it to be the end. But when you understand that energy doesn't die and your consciousness is ever traversing the fabric of the universe, you realize that the inevitability of death isn't so apparent. Concepts like nothingness and infinity are the main perpetrators for an uneasy feeling when considering death. There is no such thing as nothing, and eternity isn't something you'll ever be able to experience. You are here, have always been here, and will forever be here, and I mean here as something in the universe. The something that you are now is everything that has ever been. You will never really overcome your feelings towards death, you can only ever gain perspective and build mental models to shape your perception of it. Death isn't the end, or the beginning, it's simply a part of everything. Everything is cyclical. It's inevitable, so why fear? Facing the fear of inevitable death is like staring into the abyss. One approach is embracing the concept of mortality as a driving force for a meaningful life. It's a journey of finding purpose, cherishing moments, and leaving a lasting impact. Death becomes not an end but a reminder to make every heartbeat count. Inevitable eliminates uncertainty. Fear comes from uncertainty. Therefore, no fear. In layman's terms, the big swinging axe of death is coming for me whether I like it or not. So why fear the inevitable? I'm not afraid of dying, not afraid of being dead. I'm more afraid of whatever leads up to it, sickness, suffering. Once I'm dead, I am no more. Lights off, sound turned all the way down, mind blank. To me, there's no afterlife, no heaven, no reincarnation. Nurse here, 40 years and have seen thousands of deaths. It is always peaceful. Death comes as a release from the pain of the body, which eventually will succumb to either disease, trauma, or aging. Oddly, most people fear death when younger, but it actually gets easier as you get closer. Our culture has sanitized death. In earlier times it was a fact of life. The average age of death in 1900 was 46. Today it is in high 70s for most but not all. You will start seeing friends die in your 30s. It will pick up each decade until suddenly you will realize how many you have lost your own age. Right now I am 61, and have lost about 15% of my high school grad class and 10 close friends. It might be helpful to examine what part of death you fear the most. There has been a lot of psychological research on this topic. Religion aside, I have had contact with friends and relatives on the other side, so I am actually anticipating death with joy. Some cities have death cafes where people talk about death. The point is, face your fear, write your own obituary or picture your deathbed scene. Then use that to live your life. It is a great mystery what lies beyond, but just think, 100 years from now, nearly everyone alive today will be gone with the exception of a few stragglers. Embrace it. Without death, we wouldn't know the meaning of life. Everything and everyone dies eventually, including stars. I personally believe that life is hard and death is freedom. I don't want to die, but I'm not afraid of it either. I just want to do better job of appreciating the life I have while I'm here. It helps to believe in an afterlife. One that is better than this one. and then live this life in a way that justifies that.